Elements by Rejects on AO3. Chapter 17. Chapter 16. With shorter lines and less crowds, going to the amusement park on Tuesday was the greatest gift their bandmates could have given them. I don't think Koda is going to even be allowed on half of the rides we go on, Deku said, adjusting his sunglasses and slipping his hat back on. We can recommend them for when he gets older. Katsuki also had sunglasses on, but with the hood of his sweater pulled up to hide his hair. They looked suspicious, but at least people wouldn't recognize them right away. He hoped. Not that it mattered in the end, since according to their agency, this was in their schedule and not at all a date. Nope. Then why did he still feel so anxious about it? Thirsty? Deku asked, pulling out his wallet. Automatically, not even thinking about beverages, Katsuki responded, Yes. My treat, what do you. The dark haired boy paused and gave him a look. Kachan. What? You asked. The taller man crossed his arms with a smirk. By the way, you are really hot. It felt real good being able to freely tell him all these things. You know what I meant. Idiot. Deku ducked his head to hide his blush. Let's get hydrated. The word choice made him snort, but it was charming nonetheless. Yes, darling. Kachan! The guy, getting more embarrassed about using pet names off camera, more than on camera, was beyond adorable. While heading for the haunted maze attraction, a young fan, followed by her apologetic father, hurried up to them with her phone. She politely asked to take a picture of them, and they agreed to it. Her father took the photo, and they parted ways. It was only a matter of time before we got spotted. Deku sighed. It's not as bad as it could be, though. Ah! Katsuki pushed him along to hurry to the haunted maze. We lost like a minute of our date time together. A chuckle escaped the shorter man as they made it to the haunted attraction. As soon as they entered, Katsuki stopped. You ready? You couldn't have asked that before we went in? The blonde shrugged. I was in a hurry. Deku made a face and loosely locked his fingers into one of Katsuki's hoodie pockets. I don't do well with these attractions, but. A scream, further ahead of them, stopped him from speaking, and he exhaled. It's not real, and you're here. Katsuki slid his hand into his pocket, holding Deku's hooded hand as well. Just keep in mind, everything that jumps out is usually just an employee. He felt Deku relax beside him before tensing up again as they walked. Usually? He looked up at Katsuki for clarification, and Katsuki only smiled back in response. Kacha! And thus, the jump scares begin. By the time they reached the end of the haunted attraction, Katsuki yawned while Deku had his head down and buried against his shoulder. There, we made it, you chicken. He squeezed Deku's hand in his pocket before pulling it out. Geez, how do you sit through movies when you're this jumpy? It's different when it's actually happening to me, okay? They're harmless. Still! As they walked away from the attraction, Katsuki's voice was low, as to keep an eye out for anyone who may be within earshot. Do you want a kiss to feel better? The question silenced the shorter man for a few seconds. Well, Deku lightly bumped against him. Maybe later? We can arrange that. By the end of the day, a few more rides and snacks after the haunted attraction, the two concluded the amusement park would be fun for Koda, even if themselves were getting a little tired of it. However, on the date side of things, they both knew they couldn't end a great date without one cliché in many dating films that involved amusement parks. And Katsuki wanted to do every single cliché with Deku, just because no damn rule was ever going to stop him from doing anything romantic with his ordinary, amazing, plain, beautiful boyfriend he loves so much. The Ferris wheel. We're really doing this? Fuck yeah. And the sun's about to set too. It's gonna be awesome. Deku laughed, and the next moment, they were going on the Ferris wheel. They sat across from each other before the ride starts. As soon as their cabin lifts off, Katsuki moved beside Deku, and the cabin rocked. Kachan, what are you doing? Go back! It's fine, Deku. Katsuki took his hand and laced their fingers together. Just don't squirm. It's impossible to move at any moment. We could fall to our deaths. We'll be fine. You seem so sure. Of course. He gave Deku a smug expression. I'll save you if it comes to that. Deku scoffed, looking away with a blush. Whatever. Katsuki chuckled and continued watching him. The light from the sunset made him glow. When they reached the top of the Ferris wheel, Deku squeezed his hand as he looked back at him. Are you watching me? Well, where else should I be looking? Deku scrunched his nose playfully, more relaxed, as he leaned towards him and rested his chin on his shoulder, eyes wide as the green gazes up at him. Probably the view. Katsuki turned his head a bit more to kiss his forehead. You're the view. His boyfriend laughed, sitting back up. You're so cheesy. Says the guy who writes the cheesiest lyrics on a regular basis. They're good. I didn't say they were bad, you nerd. He caresses Deku's hand with a thumb. Then I should keep writing those cheesy lyrics. Duh. Then, maybe if you write enough, they'll start being about me. Maybe they already are. No way. Katsuki squinted. You said yourself that you don't write based off personal experience. Deku looked away, feigning a dramatic innocence. That was in the past. Izuku. He looked back at him. That's my name. Don't wear it out. You sneaky shit. If they weren't already on their way down, he would have kissed him. I had to proclaim my feeling towards you in some way. Deku looked beyond pleased with himself. You're not the only one here who's emotionally constipated. Well, no shit. Curiosity got the better of him. Which ones are about me? That's for you to figure out. Deku. Don't make me beg. Katsuki pouted when Deku hummed in response. I'll bite you. As if that scares me. You kinky shit. The dark-haired boy uses his free hand to push him. Katsuki! I'll keep note of it for next time. Katsuki tapped the other's nose, using his free hand. Just so you know, it'd be hot if you bit me. We are really having this conversation, are we? So is that a yes? Later. The blonde held his hand and kissed his knuckles. Yes, sweetheart. Deku covered his face, and the two continued their banter during the following 2 rotations. Ida World. Elements Katsuki and Izuku spotted at X amusement park. Fans had recently spotted Bakugou and Midoriya of Elements on Tuesday. The fans reported the two to be very relaxed and close, as expected of childhood friends. One fan even asked to take a picture with them and uploaded it on her Chiper account. Link. Here are some photos other fans took from afar. Image of Bakugou and Midoriya standing in line on a roller coaster. Image of Bakugou and Midoriya at a snack booth. Image of Bakugou and Midoriya entering the haunted attraction. Image of Bakugou and Midoriya walking across the park. Image of Midoriya laughing as Bakugou says something. Image of Bakugou and Midoriya getting into the Ferris wheel. It seems like they both had quite the day. Do you think it could be related to this season of Baby and Me? Comments. That actually looks like a date if I've ever seen one with my own 2 eyes. Response to that actually looks. I was about to argue, but the more I looked at the pics, the more I believe you. Regardless of what they are, they're so cute. You're all freaking over nothing. This is connected to Baby and Me. My friend's uncle's is one of the camera security guys, and he said Izuku had his hand in Bakugun's pocket the whole time they were in the haunted place, LMAO. Response to my friend's uncle. Oh my god, I hope that's true because that is adorable. Response to my friend's uncle. The fact that your friend's uncle even knows who they are is astonishing. Response to my friend's uncle. I take it Izuku doesn't like scary things, LMAO. Noted. Did they actually go on the Ferris wheel at the end of the day, though? Oh my god, this was a date. They are standing way too close for this not to be a date. Holy shit, you could barely see it, but in the snack pic. But Bakugun's face when he looks at Izuku is how I want my future husband to look at me. What does Yue have to say about this, LMAO? Response to what does Yue? This hardly even counts as anything, so there's nothing to say about it. Response to what does Yue? This is definitely for baby and me. Calm down. Someone said it already, but I really wish my boyfriend would look at me like Katsuki looks at Izuku. Everyone is overreacting. Stop acting like they're gay. It'll make them uncomfortable. Response to everyone is overreacting. Is it a problem if they were? Response to everyone is overreacting. And you're also acting based on assumptions. Response to everyone is overreacting. Wow. You can just stop right there and think about what you said. The news about their day at the amusement park broke out like wildfire amongst the tabloids, and it made Katsuki anxious. At least the fact that scooping out the park for Baby and Me was true, and their agency knew that much, but different photos spread online. Photos of almost every moment they had, except, luckily, when they were in the Ferris wheel. Each photo made him feel ill at the thought that they couldn't even be given an ounce of privacy without people trying to butt into their business. It didn't matter if they wore their disguises. He underestimated how sneaky fans could be. He got careless. Hell, he was careless even before the date. He underestimated a lot of things, and one wrong photo could land both of him and Izuku in hot water with UA. Don't bring attention to it. Don't mention it ever again. It'll die down. Fuck. He was careless. Their job. They could lose their... He snapped out of his thoughts as he retrieved a phone call. He checked to see who it was. Feeling even more anxious, he answered. Aizawa. Get Izuku to come to the agency. The CEO wants to talk. It took every ounce of strength not to throw up. The trip to the agency was silent as they left the shared house, and both men were afraid to address what the situation could be. There was a large brown envelope on CEO Nezu's desk when they entered, and Katsuki was afraid to find out what was inside. Have a seat. The CEO was friendly enough as he spoke, but the fact that he was the one speaking to them rather than some company representative was nerve-wracking. As the two idols seated themselves, the CEO's mood darkened. Out of the corner of his eye, Katsuki noted Izuku's hands clutched over his lap. Aizawa stood at the back of the room by the door. You may have some idea as to why I'd like to talk to you today. Nezu slid the envelope towards them, and Izuku took it. And you may be wondering if it has anything to do with that ordeal with the park, and it could be related, depending on both of you. Katsuki noted the tremble in Izuku's hand as he opened the envelope and pulled out photos. Someone called TS sent us those, and they have the originals. They're asking for 500,000 yen if we don't want those photos to be published. Katsuki paled when he saw the contents. They were from the day they baked the cake, right as they were leaving Izuku's family home, due to the embarrassment of being walked in on after a very intimate moment. They left ahead of the mothers after decorating the cake, so the trip wouldn't be awkward for the four of them. Correction, 3. Katsuki's mother would just keep laughing. Each photo was a play-by-play, full of carelessness. Izuku had been holding the box cake when Katsuki slid his hand into the shorter man's back pocket. This was followed up by a kiss on the cheek from Izuku, and Katsuki removing his hand. What was even worse is someone actually followed them to their house and waited for them to come out. Katsuki didn't remember seeing anyone in the area when they left. That was why he took the chance. He was such an idiot. It was never going to end, is it? Sir, isn't this stalking? Shouldn't we do something about this? Izuku set the photos down, and all Katsuki wanted for them was to explode. Nezu shook his head. As far as we know, they were simply walking by and saw you. They're well in their right at that point to take photos. This was fucked up. Beyond fucked up. It was obvious they waited. They hid themselves. Why couldn't anything be done? That's where you two come in. The CEO eyed them both. You two have a choice to make. Katsuki hated this. In the world of idols, your greatest mistake is that you were caught, regardless of whether or not you two are in a relationship. UA's dating ban, after debut, is lifted after 3 years, and you are unable to make it to even 1 year. While having rarely ever talked to the CEO in the past, every conversation with Nezu was nice, friendly, and now, not so much. Of course, he wouldn't be. One choice is that we pay this person the amount of money they ask, and you two will be put under another contract to work it off, which is in addition to the money we spent training you before your debut. What happens to your relationship will be your decision, but you mustn't be caught again. Katsuki clenched and unclenched a sweaty palm. The CEO continued. The other choice involves not paying this person the money, and they publish the photos. And then, sir? Katsuki's voice came out weak. He wanted to yell, scream about how pissed off he was about the situation. You two will be suspended from activities until further notice. Suspended? Izuku looked ready to drop. We're not fools here, Nezu said. No dating means no dating, but we are well aware that no one follows it. Then why? The blonde asked. It was so stupid. This whole thing could have been avoided if there was no band. The CEO slid from his chair and walked towards the window, looking out. It makes sense for business reasons. We want our young idols to focus on work. We know how popular idols are, too, at your age. Young, single idols mean innocence, pulling more fans in and keeping them, if only for a while. Katsuki rested his face in his palm, breathing out. It was so stupid. But it's... Izuku swallowed. A bit of confidence laced in his voice as he spoke up. Spoke Katsuki's mind. It's so stupid, sir. CEO Nezu looked back at them and smiled sadly. I know, Izuku, and I understand how much it hurts you, both of you. This is, however, how the industry works, and one slip-up can mean disaster, even for a moment. What happens if we get suspended? 3 to 6 months of no activity, Nezu explained. You wouldn't even finish Baby and Me. Your bandmates must work without you, and there would still be a great loss because of you two, whether it'll be from sales or sponsors. You must record a formal apology and announce that you're not together. Depending on how much of a loss the situation turns out, it's likely you'll have to leave the agency. Is there anything that can be done? Let us work and deal with the consequences as they come? Izuku stood. We were caught, but please, can't anything be changed? We've been working so hard, sir. Katsuki wondered why Izuku was the one pleading, when he was the one who instigated in those photos. The CEO shook his head. I'm sorry, Izuku. I can't make any exceptions. With the ban in place, in the public's eye, you've made a mistake. However, the agency and I will do what we can to protect you and soften this blow, regardless of your decision you make. We are aware of your talents and will do anything to keep you. But you cannot go unpunished for breaking the rules. A choice had to be made. Either pay the money and work off even more debt than they're already under, but there would be no drama, or let the photos get published and potentially lose everything they worked so hard for at this point. The person who took the photos would win either way, but paying them off was what they wanted. It was the goal. Stalkers didn't deserve rewards. Katsuki looked at Izuku, who was staring at the desk, and thought, before looking back at him. In the end, they made the same decision. We'll let the photos be published, sure, Katsuki said, standing, then bowed, at a complete 90-degree angle. We'll take the consequences as they come. Izuku bowed as well. I'm sorry for all the trouble we've caused. CEO Nezu gave them a joyless expression. I'm sorry there's nothing more I can do to protect both of you. In the end, the two left the building, as silent as they went in. End chapter 16. They were caught, but it wasn't. Oh my god, they were caught, but it wasn't. I thought they were gonna get caught because they were gonna slip up at the amusement park, and I thought, oh my god, they're being super lovey-dovey on the Ferris wheel, and someone with like a zoom lens is probably gonna see, and then, take a picture and, scandal. But, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I could tell that Nezu really wanted to, help them. Because, he's like, this is how the industry works. I think Nezu himself thinks that the thing is stupid, but he has to do it because, that's how the industry works, unfortunately. And, you can't start changing up stuff unless you want to start losing money. And if you start losing money, you go lower. It's a big risk. And sometimes it's best not to take the risk, right? What I think is probably going to happen in the next chapter is they're probably going to announce that, yep, we were dating, we messed up, we got suspended, right? And I think the fans are going to get outraged. And, this is my prediction. The fans are going to get outraged. They're going to be like, oh my god, that's so bullshit. There's going to be at least one, that's homophobic comment. I see it in my eyes. Nezu's going to be like, oh, would you look at that? Perfect. Yes. Call back Izuku and Katsuki, be like, alright, I found a way to protect you. And, come back and, the happily ever after. Yep, happily ever after. Wait, no, they're not gonna finish Baby and Me. Koda's not gonna see. I'm gonna cry. Oh, Koda's not gonna see them. Koda's already so attached to them, and then now Koda's. Fuck, man. I want, at least in the next chapter, for them to at least say something to Koda, you can't leave it off like that. You can't be a bitch. You can't be a bitch. No. Okay. That's my prediction, right? I predicted it that they were gonna get found out, and it was gonna be like a huge scandal. I just didn't expect it to be this big. I don't know what I was expecting with the found out. I thought it was gonna be like, oh no, they're dating. Continue the rest of the story. I don't know why the thought of, oh right, they could be fired didn't pop up in my mind, but yeah, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.